All right, everybody, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive. Today, we're cracking open some of the most popular, most enduring urban legends out there.
Ooh, always a fun topic.
It is. And we got to go to the best sources for this. We're talking List 25, Stacker, even Board Panda. They've all got articles on these modern myths.
I'm seeing a theme here. These stories, even if we laugh them off, they say something about us, don't they?
That's what I'm hoping we uncover. Like, why do some legends stick around for decades, even when they've been debunked a million times over?
Well, think about it. They often pop up and really take hold during times of, shall we say, societal anxiety. A perfect example, the Hook Man.
Oh, classic. But what's the connection?
Post-World War II America. Tons of paranoia, fear of the other. The Hook Man lurking in the shadows, weapon at the ready. He embodies that unease about the unknown.
Whoa, so it's like those Cold War fears, but channeled into a scary story we tell around campfires.
Precisely. Or look at the 1970s, with all those hitchhiking horror stories. Serial killers were making headlines, right? Suddenly, every stranger in the back seat becomes a potential threat.
Makes you want to check under your car twice, just in case. Okay, so we're seeing these patterns emerge. Let's get specific now. This first one always gets me. Mr. Rogers, Navy SEAL sniper.
You gotta laugh.
Right, like the most wholesome dude ever, secretly taking out targets. Our sources shut that rumor down hard, but still. Why do we want to believe nice guys have these hidden badass pasts?
Because it makes them more interesting, more human even. We crave complexity, even in those we put on a pedestal. Mr. Rogers with a wild side. Now that's a story.
You know what? You're right. Suddenly cardigans seem a lot more edgy. Okay, next legend on the docket. Walt Disney, frozen solid and waiting to be revived.
The ultimate power nap.
Sadly, not true. Our sources confirm the man was cremated. But two, this lets us do a mini deep dive. Was cryogenic freezing even around back then?
Barely. We're talking super early stages during Disney's time. The first successful case, like freezing a whole human body, didn't happen until 67, a year after he passed.
So no Disney on ice, but the idea itself was out there, which I guess is the point, right? Cryogenics, whether possible or not, taps into our biggest fear, death, and our desperate hope to avoid it.
100%. Fertile ground for myths and legends, even if the science was lagging behind.
Speaking of things that might be lagging behind, can we please address the coconut tooth myth? Will it really dissolve overnight?
I hate to burst your bubble, but as much as I love a good folklore tale, a tooth bath in Coca-Cola won't do much more than make it sticky.
Oh, man. But List 25 brings up all this folklore surrounding Coke. Makes you wonder, why are brand rumors, good or are bad, so hard to shake?
Because we're hardwired for narrative, we build stories around the brands we use, the products in our lives. And often, those stories reflect our deepest anxieties or desires.
So maybe it's not about Coke dissolving teeth literally, but reflecting our broader anxieties about like processed food, corporate power, that kind of thing.
Bingo. Urban legends often act as this, like cultural shorthand for bigger issues we're grappling with.
Makes sense. But here's what really gets me. Even when we know a legend is fake, it still sticks with us. Why? Why is it so hard to let go of a good story, even if the facts say otherwise?
Well, you see, our brains, total suckers for a good story. We crave patterns, explanations, even if those explanations are, well, a little far-fetched.
So we cling to the narrative, even when the facts are like, nope, not even a little bit true.
Pretty much. A gripping story, especially one that makes your heart race, that can overpower logic sometimes. It's about the emotional hook.
We've all been there. Makes you realize, though, how important critical thinking is. Question those stories, right? Look for real evidence, not just a good scare.
Couldn't agree more. Okay, ready to get a little more location specific. Our sources mention a whole bunch of legends tied to actual places.
Oh, yeah, and they run the gamut, from spooky bridges to sewers.
Gotta love a good sewer gator tale, right? Taps into that primal fear of what's lurking just beneath the surface.
List 25's description, giant escaped gators just chilling in the sewers. I was ready to move to a desert island, no plumbing required. But seriously, you're the expert. Could an alligator really survive down there?
As tough as they are, alligators have needs, my friend. Sunlight, consistent temps. The sewer system ain't exactly a 4-star hotel for a reptile.
So less attack of the sewer gators, more like misidentified snapping turtle.
Exactly. But hey, doesn't make the thought of something lurking beneath us any less creepy, does it?
Nope, not one bit. Okay, moving from the depths to, well, another kind of crossing. Board Panda talks about the Goat Man of Poke Lick Creek.
Now, that's a name that sticks with you.
Right. And this one's Extriare unsettling because of a real tragedy tied to it. A woman died searching for the creature.
See, that's what really gives a legend power. Real-world events, a tangible location. It makes the story harder to dismiss.
Like a cautionary tale whispered through the years. Stay away, or this could happen to you.
Exactly. Suddenly, it's not just a campfire story anymore.
Okay, last stop on our little legend road trip. Another bridge, but way more melancholy this time. Bored Panda also mentions White Lady Lane, the grieving mother who lost her child.
Bridges are fascinating in folklore. They're these liminal spaces. Crossing points not just over water, but symbolically between worlds.
So it's like more than just a way to get across a river. A bridge represents transition, change, maybe even that line between life and death.
And in the case of White Lady Lane, it becomes this physical reminder of her loss, forever tied to that spot.
Which brings us to, well, how these stories evolve in the age of the internet. Bored Panda mentions Slender Man, a more recent legend, born online this time.
Talk about an evolution. The internet changed everything about how legends are spread. Before, limited by word of mouth, how far you could travel.
It's like we went from whispering around a campfire to, like, a global loudspeaker amplifying every spooky detail.
Right, and it's not just the stories themselves, it's the whole multimedia package. Pictures, videos, people claiming they've got proof, even if it's just some clever Photoshop.
Oh, totally. Like, remember those grainy Bigfoot photos? Now it's high-def sightings and creepy pastas with sound effects.
Exactly. But here's a thought. With all this online sharing and remixing, do these legends even stay the same? Or do they kind of evolve?
Ooh, good point. It's like a game of digital telephone, but with monsters and mysteries instead of, like, Billy has a crush on Sarah.
Right. And Slender Man, perfect example.
Mhm.
Started as one thing, then everyone's adding their own details, their own chapters to the story. He blew up.
So, from whispers to viral sensations, what a wild ride. But now, we gotta bring it back home to you, our awesome listeners.
Time to turn the spotlight on the legends that have stuck with you.
The ones you grew up with. Maybe it was a story about, like, a haunted house in your town.
Or a creepy creature said to lurk in the woods nearby. Yeah.
Ah,
Whatever it was, think about WHY that story resonated. What does it say about the time and place you came from?
because these stories, even if they're not true in a literal sense, they reveal something true about UF.
Exactly. Our fears, our hopes, the things that keep us up at night, it's all reflected in these urban legends.
So next time you hear a creepy story, don't just brush it off. Think about WHY it exists. What's the deeper meaning hidden beneath the surface?
Urban legends, at their core, remind us that we're all connected by this shared human experience, our need to explain the world, even the scary parts.
And our fascination with the unknown. All right, everybody, that's it for this deep dive. Keep exploring those mysteries, and until next time, stay curious.